The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi.
Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
So the last thing I want to do on a weekend is get up really, really early because I get up at about 3 a.m., sometimes earlier during the week. But on Sunday, I was up at 4:30 a.m. Why? Because Fox News sent a car to my Queens residence at 5 a.m. on Sunday so I could make an appearance on the Fox and Friends weekend show with Rachel Campos Duffy and Charlie Hurt and Griff Jenkins talking specifically about the Iran conflict. So I go there, and I think the three of them, especially Rachel, who I speak to quite a bit, expected me to kind of be in line, you know. Trump's doing a great job, and we're winning the war, and things look great, and the economy is on the upswing, and we basically won. And that's not what they got. Not even close. So it turned into kind of a back and forth between me, Rachel, Charlie, and Griff. And I have to tell you that people really enjoyed it. But the first text I got when I was done came from the guy that's one of the three hosts during the weekday Fox and Friends show on Fox News, the same man that follows me each and every weekday morning here on WABC at 10 a.m., and the host of my favorite show on Fox News, 10 p.m. Sunday nights, One Nation, Brian Kilmeade goes, Sid, I just watched you. That was perfect. You actually said perfect. Why was that the case, Brian Kilmeade?
Well, a couple of things. Today in the Wall Street Journal, they write that Trump got briefed. What would all-out war look like if we just end the talks? And what if we continue? And he decides for now to continue. Did speak to him yesterday. Did say he's had a series of war meetings. This obviously is it, and I don't think he minds. I don't think he minds what's in the Wall Street Journal. I mean, I'm done with these. These talks are a joke. And I'm listening to what the Iranians say, and I'm perfectly willing to say they're not being honest about what's going on in the conversation. But they had no conversations yesterday in Doha. And I don't really listen to J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is just spinning it. He didn't want the war to begin with, so he's leading the delegations, but he's more concerned about selling his book. And what we want is a result. This is the only president, as you mentioned, to take on militarily our enemy. Oh, you're building a nuclear weapon? You're continuing to do it? We're telling you not to? I'm bombing it. Oh, you're gonna dig it out? You're gonna continue? You're gonna harass your neighbors and foment unrest with your proxies? We're gonna hit you harder, like you've never been hit before. We're gonna kill your 86-year-old Ayatollah and wipe out 80 members of your leading government, and then along with the Israelis, assassinate almost all legitimate leaders of that country, leaving some real crazy incompetents left. Hoping that the Iranian people will be able to step up, but knowing that they're unarmed without a Second Amendment, it's going to be tough. So now we're in a situation where we're talking to a bunch of lunatics, some of which are pretending to be moderates. And I think that Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are two sincere, smart, nice guys. I think that they're not going to produce anything, and I think you see that too. And we just see this. They think that by dragging it out, gradually taking control of the strait, they will have their virtual nuclear weapon, and you're frustrated as well, and you got the perspective because you were just in Israel, who were told now they're roped into this deal, and they're thinking, you didn't even consult me on this deal, and now I'm supposed to go leave Lebanon and let Hezbollah set up on our doorstep again? They're not doing that. So we're pretty much nowhere at this point. And you picked that out.
Wow, I'm surprised that you're in total agreement because I've got people here at the station, for example, that are Trump sycophants just like me, and they're telling me, no, we won. I mean, look at the Dow Jones. Folks, about 97% of this country, if they are lucky enough to go to Red Lobster on a Friday night, they're winning, okay? They're not. The Dow Jones is not part of their life or the S&P. Here's what they want. They want to be able to afford eggs. They want to be able to get, a house. So interest rates need to come down. They need inflation to come down. They don't want wars. So the idea that, no, we're winning because the Dow Jones is up and the S&P is up and your 401k looks better than ever. For the majority of Americans, Brian, that's not true. I think I spoke, and you did just now, for the majority of Americans on Fox News on Sunday.
Yeah, I see. I love that we took on Iran. Some people aren't happy about that. I love that we did. I just would like to finish the job. And then knowing that it's going to cost gas prices to go up, if we just went for 2 or 3 more weeks when we were at it, the biggest mistake we made was doing that ceasefire to begin with. I think the president got a little freaked out when our plane was shot down, wondering what's going on with their air defense. Well, they got lucky, and they might have gotten lucky again, but they would have been destroyed if we just finished the job. So that's really my frustration now, because I like the idea that he's doing it. So I just don't like the idea of if they survive, they win, and that's the perception in that area.
No, that is not the perception. That's the reality. Look, Midnight Hammer was amazing. I also loved Operation Epic Fury, but for the last couple of months, you used the exact word that I used on Sunday. We're nowhere. You can't argue that. We are nowhere, and I was in Israel like you pointed out. I got to tell you, Brian, a couple of months ago, if President Trump would have run against Bibi Netanyahu for prime minister in Israel, he would have won easily. Now, I know it's anecdotal, it's just me, but I spoke to a lot of people in a lot of different towns and cities in Israel last week. They are angry. Forget about frustrated. They are angry with President Trump. They feel like he stabbed them in the back. The word betrayal was used time and time again. Do we not care about that?
Yeah, I mean, as part of negotiations, I think they'll recover depending on how this ends. But, the president wants a quick end, and he doesn't understand that one thing I don't think he gets, he's like, let Syria finish the job. Syria finished the job. They barely have an army. They have no missile defense. Hezbollah's got rockets because Syria hates Hezbollah. The whole region hates Hezbollah. They're a bunch of thugs, and they were kicked out of Syria after the Russians stopped protecting them because they were gummed up in this Ukrainian war, and now they're about to lose the Ukraine war. Keep your eye on what's happening over there. They're now able to reach almost every major city, and these crazy lines in Moscow, nobody can even get gas, and they live on a gas station. So this is the story. So the president just wants this done, and I understand that because he's got so much more to do, but this is going to take a little bit more time. This is an entrenched radical regime that has built a bunch of fail-safes should they ever be attacked. And unfortunately, we have no allies with any spine or any military that's going to help us out. And even Saudi Arabia and Qatar are cutting survival deals rather than what UAE is doing, Bahrain and Kuwait, saying, United States, we'll fight this with you. And I really appreciate them more than ever. If I'm watching some Middle Eastern television, you were living it. I have to watch it from here. And they were saying that there's a real schism in the Gulf states because they're just afraid. The West is afraid. This president says, no, I got to do what no other president's going to do. So you and I don't want that to go by the boards. He is doing it. But I think in the end, if he just goes and combines again with Israel, who said we're going to attack within 48 hours if we get hit by Iran again, we go by with Israel and just finish them off. Now, the question is, in November, I guarantee you he does. We have to get to November. What I also talked to people that told me, in fact, it was on yesterday, who have Middle Eastern ties to Iranians that used to live there, that the goal is to make Donald Trump Jimmy Carter, ruin his election chances by destroying the midterms for him and his party. They know our election cycle. So they're going to create unrest in October if we don't do something about the cadence of these talks. So there is no good answer except the military answer. And I think we both agree on that.
100%. This is the great Brian Kilmeade. He follows me 10 o'clock every morning right here on WABC, Fox and Friends, One Nation. Great show, 10 p.m. Sunday nights. I was critical of President Trump in Israel, too, not just for the Iran war, but the way he talks about Israel, specifically Bibi. You mentioned J.D. Vance earlier. I've got no use for J.D. Vance. Somebody needs to guarantee me right now that Marco Rubio is our nominee in 2028. I don't like J.D. Vance even a little, okay? But we talked about in Israel how he talks about Israel and Bibi Netanyahu, how he's quick to go out there and criticize Bibi.
I know.
But he says these wonderful things still about Mamdani. And I don't know about you, Brian, but I'm watching all these progressives. I know Hickenlooper held on, but he's a bad guy anyway. I'm watching all these progressives win all across the country. I watched what happened here in New York last Tuesday. It's terrifying.
Oh yeah, it's not a New York story. It's a Colorado story. It's a Maine story. It's everywhere. Good news is Susan Collins is winning. I hope Mike Rogers stays the course, holds on. In Michigan, he's up by 1 or 2 points, but he doesn't officially have an opponent yet. But in Colorado, Hassan Piker is the new kingmaker, and the old man on the inside, Bernie Sanders, is the godfather. So that's what happens, guys. When you sell your soul and let everybody run who are not even in your party, now all of a sudden you have Bernie Sanders, who got wrong twice. He did. But you idiots let him run as a Democrat without making him become a Democrat. And now he's taken over your party like a tapeworm. So good luck, guys. It's bad for the country. My hope is it's a resuscitator. It is a life back for the Republicans in this midterm, where people say, yeah, well, I don't love X, Y, and Z, but I'm not electing these lunatics who hate the country and hate Israel. That's my hope. But, Sid, I just want to remind everyone, I got to run back to the set now. I got to remind everyone what's coming up October 17th in Westbury Music Fair. You have promised the brand new show, Uniting the States. You'll be on stage, right?
Can't wait.